those of you who don't know me, my name is Asia Davis. I am the co-founder of this group, White People Doing Something. I also am the co-founder of the Exponential Human Project. If you haven't heard of it, you need to know because it is excellent for helping you to create literally anything that you want in life, particularly when it comes to creating massive change in your communities or in your own life. So we can talk about that later, but if you want to check that out, exponentialhumanproject.com. Okay, so today, what I want to talk about is crushing self-doubt. All right, so self-doubt is one of those sneaky little things that shows up for us. I just think, all the time, as a normal part of being human beings, whenever you're trying to do something new, usually that is when self-doubt comes in, right? And it shows up in a lot of different ways, right? It could show up as procrastination. It could show up as busy work. It can show up as, I don't know, right? I don't know the next step. And so, therefore, I can't do anything. And oftentimes it sets us in this place of being stuck, right? So we doubt ourselves, and then the process is like, oh, I want to go do this big thing or this new thing. And that voice starts talking in your head. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. What if it doesn't work out? All that kind of stuff creeps in. And then we just kind of wallow around, and if you don't know what to do about it, it's like kind of fizzles out, right? And then we give ourselves the excuse of, oh, I ran out of time, or such and such didn't work out, or so and so didn't get back to me, so therefore I can't do it, right? So raise your hand if that makes any sense, right? Ask how I know, right? So here's the thing with self-doubt is usually when you're out to do something new or big and self-doubt creeps in, that is a good thing, all right? Because it is a symbol of the signal to you that you are doing something new, that you're trying to grow. See, we are wired, our physical bodies on this planet are wired for comfort, right? So we're going to do everything in our neuroscience, like neurologically, our brains are wired for comfort. So we're going to do everything in our power to keep us in this place that is comfort. Why? Because when you're comfortable, that means survival, right? That means consistency. It means certainty to a certain degree, right? And so, like on a physical level, our bodies, like biologically, want comfort, right? This is like the basis of so much of human civilization, of like why we have so many things that we have today, from cars to chairs to shoes, right? We want to be comfortable. So that's okay. All right. Now, what happens is that we end up in a place where we're at this juxtaposition, because in our bodies are wired for comfort, but our soul is wired for growth. And it's our soul, it's that tension that we often can't deal with, right? That's where the discomfort comes in, because physically we want to be comfortable, but on that soul level, like that need to grow, that need to do something different, that need to be more, that's always just going to be a part of who we are. And so we have this place of like, oh, we want to kind of stay. And then we also have a part of us that wants to grow, that wants to be more, that wants to do more, that wants to change things. At least I hope you do, right? And so in that is when we're trying to make that jump, we're trying to make that leap, that is where self-doubt comes in, all right? And so it's okay. Here's like really quickly a few ways that I've learned, all right? Like all these things, like I have to remind myself sometimes. I don't feel like Asia has it all together all the time. No, I just gotta remind myself, and being here and talking to you all is what really helps remind me. So here's the first thing. Don't make yourself wrong, okay? So what do I mean by that? When you are attempting to do something new, when you're attempting to grow, when you're attempting anything, right? Maybe it's like making your side hustle a real thing. Maybe it's starting something, big in your community or at your work. Like you have this self-doubt, right? And you have that voice that comes in. Just know that it's normal. All right? It's completely normal. And there's nothing wrong with it. And like I mentioned earlier, really what's happening, all it is just a signal that you're trying to grow. That's it. And that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. So what often happens is we can get stuck in this loop of, oh, I can't. And we feel bad about ourselves because we're like, oh, I feel like I can't do it. Then you feel bad about feeling bad about you can't do it. And then you just keep on going down this hill that gets you nowhere. So don't make yourself wrong for being in a place of self-doubt. Right? Don't make yourself wrong for feeling if you're doubting yourself. So number one, it's okay. Number two, action and overwhelm cannot coexist. Right. So a lot of times we feel doubt around ourselves. We feel like we can't do things. And it's mostly because we're not actually in the action of doing anything about it. Instead, we're in this place in our minds where we're going through possible negative scenarios and negative outcomes, and we're being like, oh, and just getting all worked up over the possibility of something negative or bad or all the what ifs. And when you are in action, right, action will trump everything. Action will, being in action it also gives you confidence. It allows you to build momentum and it allows you to learn, right? So when you are in action, you can't be overwhelmed and your self-doubt starts to subside because you're actually starting to do the thing. And the thing, if it's not working out the way you want it to work, you're learning, right? So something is happening in the meantime. All right. So just take action, no matter what it is. All right. Just take some action towards towards whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Right. If you're trying to start something in your local community, go talk to somebody about it. Go talk to your neighbor about it. All right. Be in action. Don't just ruminate about it in your head. Just be in action. So, third thing, right, for overcoming self-doubt is really becoming aware on what you focus on. All right. So, a lot of times when we are doubting ourselves, it's because we're out over here comparing ourselves to something or somebody else, right? Exactly. What we pay attention to grows, right? So we're over there being like, oh, so and so did, this big program, so and so accomplished X and Y amount of time. But look at me over here. I'm not doing that. I haven't achieved that yet. Right. And so we're focusing on this comparison that doesn't really exist. Right. I saw a quote the other day. It's like, we're comparing our behind the scenes to somebody's highlight reel, right? Like that's usually what's going on. And so when we are focused on what somebody else has done or is doing, and then comparing our lack of results, our lack of progress to that, the voice in your head is going to say, oh, no, you can't, right? It goes back to that old record playing, tired track of, I don't know, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, all right? So it's very simple. Just instead of focusing on what other people are doing, focus on what you can improve, all right? Your mission, your impact, whatever it is that you are here to create in this world, whatever it is that you're here to do, whatever your calling, whatever you want to call it, is yours. It is yours. You are here for a reason. It is up to you. And so it has nothing to do with everybody else that you're thinking about, right? It has nothing to do with, your neighbor over there or I don't know, like your friend over there. It has nothing to do with them, all right? Or some big famous person, nothing to do with them. Your mission, your calling, whatever it is, the impact that you want to make, the life that you want to create is up to you. And so, and it's like when we want to look at it, look at what can I improve on as opposed to, oh, look at what they're doing over there and how poorly I'm doing in comparison. Because that's what our mind likes to do. If you do that, it's fine, right? And it just might not serve you, right? And it's normal. It's what as people have been around want to do. And we got to untrain our brains to compare ourselves and really focus on, okay, what can I improve? Because when you focus on what you can improve, you focus on what you can control. And when you find out that more things are in your control, then that voice of self-doubt starts to decrease. It starts to quiet itself a little bit. And you start to, that voice of like, oh wait, I can do this, starts to get louder. All right. Now, just so you know, self-doubt might not ever go away, right? We all have it. And if it goes away, that's usually a sign that you're not growing. So we don't necessarily want it to go away. We want it to show up. Okay. So don't think of it as a bad thing. Again, remember, it's just a sign that you're growing. So fourth tip that you can do in turn to help improve, this crushed self-doubt is take a look at your environment. And more than likely, if you're not where you want to be, if you're not doing the things that you want to do, you might need to change your environment. So what do I mean by that? So it's usually around what is going in your brain and versus like what you're consciously putting in, right? So a lot of times we don't even realize it, but we're putting the wrong stuff in our brain, right? If you're watching cable news 24/7, just stop. There's nothing good that comes from that, right? Like you don't have to know every minute of everything, every breaking news thing that goes on, because what that is, it's a constant reminder of how terrible the world is. And when you have this filter of how terrible the world is, guess what? You start to see that everything in the world is terrible, right? If you're somebody and your goal is to get fit and healthy, and no one in your friend network ever cares about being fit and healthy, guess what? The chances of you getting into that groove are very slim. So you want to go find different friends who are committed to getting fit and healthy, right? I mean, that's an example of changing your environment. If you have, friends who are always, taking down your ideas and telling you like, oh, that's terrible, that's never going to work out. Guess what? You're going to believe it's never going to work out, because we're a product of our environment to a certain extent. All right. Until we get the muscle, a strong enough muscle to determine and be the creator of everything and not the source of everything, which is what we really are, but we might not be there yet, and that's okay. In the meantime, your environment is going to have a big impact on you. So do an edit. All right. If you need to do a friend edit and say, friend, this friend's not supportive, they're always like down on me on anything that I want to do, might need to say bye, right? And then find the people who are going to be supportive, who are on the same tracks, on the same lines of what you do. I guarantee you it will shift everything. I'll tell you a quick story. I remember when I first moved to New York and I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I had a good group of friends, but I realized that this group of friends like really did not want anything more from themselves. They like kind of were mad about money, angry about just kind of everything. And I was like, oh, this is not going to be helpful for me wanting to be a successful entrepreneur. So I limited my time with them, and I sought out other entrepreneur friends. That changed everything for me. And number 5, all right, is trust. This is a big one, because so often in our lives what we don't realize, and the last thing that we look to, ask me how I know, is we are unwilling to bet on ourselves. We're unwilling to bet on ourselves. We don't trust ourselves at the deepest level. We rather trust, man over there on the TV. We rather trust somebody out there who is, selling you XYZ. We rather trust all of that than trust ourselves. And that is not an accident, y'all. That is not an accident. We live in a culture, we live in a society that is indoctrinated that you are not to be trusted, and therefore you need X product to make you happy, you need X thing to make your life better, whatever it is, right? And that's just the world that we live in. That's the consumer culture that we live in. Nothing wrong, just doesn't really work when it comes to actually creating the shift and change inside your health, inside your life, and inside your own community. So take a chance on yourself. Now, here's the thing with taking a chance on yourself. You got to go all in, right? You got to go on, and you're not going to learn to swim by just sticking your toes in the water. All right. You're not going to learn to swim. You got to put your whole body in the water. And I promise you, the universe, the extra, whatever force, God, whatever you want to call it, will conspire in your favor when you fully commit. You got to commit fully. There can't even be like a little part of you. Again, you're not going to learn to swim if you're hanging on to the edge the whole time. You might feel better, but you're never going to actually swim. So you got to trust yourself, right? Now, that being said, don't go out there trying to swim without having swimming lessons. That's why like being in an environment, having coaches, having mentors is really a key step in all of this, right? Make sure you get the skills if you're going to go try something new. That can be really helpful. So that is that. All right. So again, here are the 5 things for overcoming self-doubt, for crushing it. All right. 1, don't make yourself wrong for feeling doubt. It's okay. Action and overwhelm cannot coexist. All right. When you are in action, that little voice will definitely simmer down. Right. What you focus on. We're not comparing ourselves to everybody else over there. We're just focusing on what you can improve. Change your environment. Toxic friends, unnecessary. All right. Like surround yourself with people that have achieved or are wanting to achieve the same thing that you are looking to accomplish. And 5, trust yourself. Take a chance on yourself. Bet on yourself fully. And there's nothing that can stop you.